Oscar Romeo 4 Italy Sierra Sierra. This is ground station Lima Zulu 1 Kilo Romeo November. Lima Zulu 1 Kilo Romeo November calling you.
LZ1 KRN, NA1SS.
Oscar Romeo 4 Italy Sierra Sierra. This is LZ1 Kilo Romeo November. Very nice to help you. Your signal is weak, but we would waiting to become loud and clear. Over.
I hear you loud and clear, NA1SS.
Okay, Don, very nice. Are you ready for the first question? Are you ready for the first question, please? Over.
I am ready for the question. Over.
Okay, let's go.
Hi, I'm Maya. I heard you do experiments with fish in aquariums. What happens to them because of gravity? Over.
I have heard about experiments with fish. I have never seen one myself, so I do not know what happens to the fish in the absence of gravity. Over.
I'm Devorah. Where do you keep your ice cream? Over.
We do not have any ice cream. I wish I did. We do have research freezers that are minus 100 degrees centigrade. So if we did have ice cream, it would be very, very hard and frozen. Over.
Hi, I'm Denitsa. What do you do in your free time on the International Space Station? Over.
In my off-duty time, which is a little different than free time, but off-duty time, I take photographs of Earth. Over.
And which subject in school helped you the most to become an astronaut? Over.
All the cool subjects to do. Math, science, and engineering. Those are the subjects you need if you want to be an astronaut. Over.
I'm Ivan. What is the most interesting experiment you have conducted at the International Space Station? Over.
The most interesting experiments that I have conducted are experiments that we do to ourselves in terms of diet and physical fitness. Over.
Hi, I'm Lilia. Have you seen something that nobody else has seen? Over.
I do not know if I've ever seen anything that nobody else has seen, but I've certainly observed things that are not known extensively in the literature, and then I can take my observations and help expand the knowledge of that. Over.
Hi, I'm David. How do you sleep in space? Over.
We sleep in space just like you do on Earth. We have sleeping bags. Instead of crawling into your sleeping bag, you float into your sleeping bag, and then you go to sleep. Over.
And how many years did you train to go to the ISS?
We train about 2 years to go to the ISS, and that's full-time. So each mission to ISS is about like a university degree. Over.
I'm Kauyan. How powerful is the engine of your spacecraft? Over.
For space station, the rocket engines do not need to be very strong, and they only put out a few kilogram newtons of thrust, but that is all that is necessary for space station. Over.
Hi, I'm Maggie. Does your voice sound the same in space as it does here? Over.
Yes, your voice sounds the same because the atmospheric composition and pressure on space station is the same as on Earth. When we do a spacewalk, we have 100% oxygen at about 200 millimeters of mercury pressure, and then your voice sounds different. Over.
Hi, I'm Maxi. Did you find space interesting as a child? Over.
Yes, I was fascinated with space as a child, and I watched the early astronauts fly into space and go to the moon, and that made me interested in space. Over.
I'm Sophie. What was the most interesting thing you learned during your training, and how long did you train? Over.
For initial training, that was 2 years to become basic astronaut, and then for each mission you train another 2 years. And one of the most interesting things I learned in training was how to operate our urine processor so that we can take urine, extract the water, and use it in our galley for preparing food. Over.
Hi, I'm Yasna. What kind of physical challenges did you have to overcome on Earth to prepare for space? Over.
For physical challenges in microgravity, we do a lot of training on the ground in our gymnasium, physical fitness, and then once we come into space, we do physical fitness for 2.5 hours every day. Over.
Hi, I'm Marky. How do you have access to Wi-Fi and electricity? Over.
We get our electricity from solar panels, so it all comes from the sun, and Wi-Fi is part of the electronic system that we have on station. Over.
And what's the strangest thing you've seen orbiting around the Earth? Over.
The strangest thing that I've seen recently are the Starlink satellites that are in orbit around Earth. Over.
Hi, I'm Daria. This time feels like it passes by faster in space. Over.
Time seems to come the same rate as on Earth. Over.
Hi, I'm Theo, and what's the furthest you would want to go in space? Over.
If we had the technology, I would love to go to another planetary system, maybe 2 or 3 light years away. Over.
Hi, I'm Jackie. How does the ISS smell like? Over.
ISS smells like a machine. It smells like a machine shop. It smells like an engine room on a ship. Over.
Hi, I'm Leah. Does every spacecraft fly out of NASA? Over.
No, we have commercial spacecraft now. SpaceX launches spacecraft. Blue Origin launches spacecraft. So there are multiple entities launching spacecraft now. Over.
Hello, I'm Misha. Is there trash in space? Where does it accumulate and how much is there?
On Space Station, we have garbage cans and garbage bags, and we pack them in our used cargo vehicles, and they burn up in the atmosphere going back to Earth. Over.
Hi, I'm Victor. What do you drink there? Over.
I drink coffee in the morning and water for the rest of the day. And we have other beverages available. We have like orange beverage and tea and things like that. Over.
Okay, Donald, that was the last question to ISS crew. I wish to thank you for your fantastic answers to our question. Everyone here wants to say a big thank you to you, to ISS crew, and many 73. Please listen to our thank you. Oscar Romeo 4, Italy Sierra Sierra. This is Lima Zulu 1 Kilo Romeo November. Signing off and clear. Bye, Don.
Big thanks to all the students and NA1SS out.
страхотно. Рома, аз ти поздравявам.
Чудесни деца. И напълно да слушат. Или направиха?